Hello and welcome to this latest video. In this quick video I'm going to demonstrate how to import from Excel into Access. And we can see we have a workbook up here, and if we open it up we can see it's got one sheet in it. So it's going to be a simple job to import just that single sheet. A couple of things to note about this particular one is we can see that it's got an ID field, and we're going to use that as the index, and you can see that all those values are unique, so there's no duplicate indexes in there. Also note that our first row contains our column headings, and we're also going to use that as part of the import process, and this makes it simple. So with that in mind, I'm going to close out this spreadsheet and we're going to make a new database by opening Microsoft Access. Click on blank database. I'm going to call it import, and we're going to save that at the desktop where we can find it easily, and press the create button. And we've opened that database with a wizard table should we wish to add to that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do an import. So we're going to close out the Access, and we now have it on our desktop and I can find it. We're going to open it again and we can see it's totally blank. Now we're going to go through the import process, and we do this by choosing the external data tab, and we're going to go through the wizard. You're going to use the wizard. So we click on Excel as being the data source, and we navigate to where our sheet is. Desktop. There it is, sheet for import, sheet for export. So we're going to import it here, and there's two options to link or import, and we're going to choose the default one. Press OK to that. And you can see here now we have already got the rows in there containing the field headings, so we're going to tell Access that that's the case, and we're going to move on to the next option. The next option allows you to change some of the characteristics of the individual fields, the data type and so on. However, in this case we're going to just choose the default that Access is recommending for us, so we're going to ignore that. And in this option we're allowed to choose the index field, or the primary key as they describe it, and you can see Access is trying to make a new one up for us, but we actually don't need that because it's exactly identical to the one that comes with the sheet. So we're going to say choose my own, and it chooses that from the list of fields there, and that's appropriate. If we try to choose any of these, it may not turn out to be a proper index field because they may contain duplicates. So once we've chosen that, now we're all ready to do the import. Everything looks good. Click on next, and then we're going to just save it. And I'm going to save it as a table name, so it's going to prefix it with table, as I do with all my tables, to distinguish them from other objects in the database. And I'm going to describe it as having a key already in there. So once that's all done, we press the finish button. Don't have to save the import steps. Press close, and now we have our table. When we double click on our table, we can see the details of it, and it's exactly the same as the contents of the spreadsheet. So I'm going to add additional records in here just to demonstrate how you would do that. You don't necessarily need to go through this wizard steps again. It's actually much easier than that. So I'm going to resize that, and I'm going to open our original sheet. I'm going to just use the same records because the field types are the same. However, what I can't do is I can't just import some of these records directly, because you can see they've got index values which are already there, and Access will balk at us because it doesn't like to allow records which have got the same primary field values or index field values as we described them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change this for the sake of the demonstration. We know that 29 is the last one. Okay, so we're going to import those 4 records. I'm going to select them first of all by selecting the 4 records, and now we're going to choose the copy button. I could use Control-C to copy, and now they're ready to be pasted, to be copied into Access. So we go back to our Access table, and the way we do this is we open the table, we come down to the new record asterisk there, and we select that, and now we right click and we click paste. and it tells us we're about to import 4 records, which is correct, and we say yes to that. And we can see it's imported the 4 new records that we've just copied out. So it's as easy as that to copy and paste from Excel to Access once the data structure is the same. And finally, I'm going to just demonstrate how we would import in the case where we don't have an ID or a primary field in the source data, and we're going to generate one of these in Access. So I can close that table. I'm going to leave that open for the moment, and we're going to go back to our spreadsheet, and we're going to modify. I'm going to go roll back our spreadsheet to where we were. We're going to modify our spreadsheet to remove the index field here. Okay, so we're going to remove these values here. Actually, I'm going to remove the whole lot for the moment. I'm going to save that again. So now you can see our sheet contains all the same records, but it doesn't have a unique identifier. Going to go through the import steps again. Navigate to the same sheet, and this time it offers us an option to append because we've got an existing table there. We ignore that. Once again, first row headings are chosen. Make no changes to the data types, and now this time Access is providing us, it's giving us an option to include an ID field even though it wasn't in the original data. So I'm going to let it do that, and I'm going to choose next, and I'm going to change the name of this. And I'm going to describe it as no key. So the data contains no key, but Access is already generated it. So we're going to finish now, and we can see now we have our second table in there. So we open our table. Even though we didn't put in a key field, Access has added a key value to all the records, and this is using what they describe as an auto number key field. So in other words, every record that we add in, it adds in the correct number. Now we're going to copy and paste from that sheet again into this new table, and I'm going to open it and just select a couple of records. It doesn't really matter, it's only by way of demonstration. I'm going to select the last couple here. And remember, this table has got no ID field, and I'm going to demonstrate a problem that can arise if you try and import this into a table which has got an ID field. So we're going to select that, and we're going to go back to our Access database and go back to the bottom again, right click and paste. And now you can see the problem that has arisen. What it's done is Access has assumed that the first field that was taken from the Excel sheet that it's been pasted in contained an ID. However, the ID is being overwritten by Access, so it imported it but overwrote it. So consequently, we've lost our first field, and everything has shifted to the left. So you can see it's all out of sync. Now the way to get over that, and I'm going to remove these records by pressing the delete key. So I'm going to get over that by going back to the sheet and inserting a new record, a new column. So we insert a new column, and we don't have to name it or anything like that. It just means that when we're copying over the set of records, it sees this as being the ID field, imports it into Access, Access overwrites it, and everything else gets in the correct sequence. So now we're going to select our few records for import. Control C to that. Back to Access, select our new record, right click, paste, and now our records have been pasted in successfully. There's another way, but it just touches on queries that you could import directly from the sheet, which has got no index field in it, and we would do this by creating a query. It's a little bit more complicated, but we'll just do that, and I'm just going to choose a no key file. We're going to add that, generate a query, save it as query 1 and open it, and we can see it looks exactly the same as the table. Now I'm going to design view that, and I'm going to modify it to remove the ID field. Save it, view it. So the records in here look exactly the same as they do in our workbook, which has got no ID in it. We're going to take it out and leave it the way it was to start with. So we can see we've got no ID field in here, and so say if we want to add in any of these records here, sorry, I have to select only the appropriate columns. So let's say we select this amount here, so Control C to that, and now we're going to go back here, and instead of importing into the table, we're going to import into the query, and because we're importing into the query, which has got no ID field, it'll plank the records into the right place, because the records are exactly the same format, the same number of rows and so on as is in the query. So right click on that and paste. Okay, so there are the two ways you can import if you don't have an ID field in your spreadsheet. So I hope you found this useful, and leave any comments. Thank you for watching.